definitely need to go to the hospital. They took Gennady to the hospital out of precautionary measures. There's no question both of them took a lot of punches. You could see by Sergey's face, the one eye that was cut was closed and the other eye was closing fast. So he took a lot of headshots. You got to give them a lot of credit. They both fought at a very high pace. Both landed a lot of power punches. And you got to take your hats off to both of these warriors putting on that type of a show for the crowd in the Garden.
Were you concerned at any point in the fight for your fighter?
Not concerned in terms of him being hurt, but we've had some bad decisions in the past, specifically 2 against Canelo. So we were hoping not to get a bad decision here in New York. And, luckily, we did get the decision. He had the knockdown in the first round, opened the cut in the second round with a punch, and then kept going on. He kept answering. Look, Sergey kept coming, and Triple G kept answering. So you really got to give them both credit. There were a lot of close rounds in the middle. I think Gennady finished very strong in the championship rounds, definitely 11 and 12, maybe 10, 11 and 12. And you got to take your hats off to these guys.
Do you think this helps or hurts his chances of getting the 3rd fight with Canelo?
We could speculate all we want about a 3rd fight with Canelo. That's really up to Canelo. He's got this fight with Kovalev coming up. So that's a question you can ask for Canelo after the Kovalev fight.
That 10th round, I thought was the round of the year. What were you thinking there?
Oh, it was, as a fan, as a promoter, that's not the type of round you want to see for your guy. Even though Gennady was landing a lot of punches on Derevyanchenko, he was also taking a lot of punches. So, as a fan, that's like you said, that could be the round of the year so far. Certainly one of the most exciting rounds I've seen, and you just got to give these guys credit for not only landing hard punches, but fighting at such a high technical level and the volume of punches. Triple G trains in Big Bear in the altitude. He's in tremendous shape, but you can tell that Sergey really came to fight. You got to give a lot of credit for Mike Basil, the cut man, keeping Sergey in that fight after getting cut so badly in the second round, and Gennady peppering that cut the whole time, the rest of the fight, and Sergey being able to fight the full 12 rounds. The commission called the doctor in 3 times to look at the cut, just to double check to see if it was okay for him to keep fighting. It was that bad, and credit Mike Basil and credit Sergey's heart for going the full 12 round distance.
What do you want to see Golovkin do next?
We'll see. He's going to take some time off. It was a tough fight again for both guys, but he just became a 2-time world champion. We're looking for him to defend those titles or unify those titles. So we'll see what's coming. Andrade was there, certainly a viable option. Zarameta fought on the undercard, undefeated fighter from Poland, could be an option. Murata in Japan, could be an option. Canelo is always an option. So, we'll see. We'll see what develops. We'll have to put out the feelers with the zone, put out the feelers with the opponents, and then see what direction we can go into.
And can I just ask you about Madrimov? He had a great performance tonight. What do you think happens next one?
Tremendous performance. Look, I've seen him twice now live on the last Triple G show and this show, and you can see the progression. He had only 3 fights so far and had a nice, exciting performance. So I think Madrimov is on the fast track, and I think he's tabbed to be a future world champion. Ali Akhmedov put in a great performance. It was hard to judge. It was a 1-round knockout, so it was really hard to judge, but it was a step up in opponent. So being able to take out someone that went the distance with Caleb Plant, who's a current world champion, and to take him out in 1 round, I think says a lot for Ali Akhmedov's performance.
How hard is it to promote these guys from Uzbekistan and Eastern Europe? Because Israel's undoubtedly an amazing talent, and he's undoubtedly, I can see him fighting for a world title even though he's only 4-0.
Yeah.
But I'm sure promoting him in the States is difficult, as far as just fans and just sports public. Like, how difficult is it to bring these guys over and try to, have them break through?
Well, we really opened the doors originally with the Klitschko's from Ukraine, and then with Triple G from Kazakhstan. As you mentioned, Madrumov's from Uzbekistan, I believe, and Eddie's going to have the same problem that we had with Triple G. If he keeps putting on those type of performances, it's going to be hard to get people in the ring with him. Triple G was the WBA world champion, and it was virtually impossible to get other champions to unify with him. They were literally vacating titles instead of fighting Triple G. So Madrimov had a great fight, and expect great things for him to come. Akhmedov had a great fight. Expect him to be a future world champion, and it was an exciting show overall.
There was something that was brought up by, I don't know if you want to even know who it is, but they said that Triple G was sick this week, and they said that it's not as an excuse of why he performed, but they said that they found out that he was fighting not a flu, but he was sick, he was coughing, and it was apparently tight-lipped. Is there truth to that? And I know that's not the first time it's happened to Triple G. There has been rumors about that happening.
Sick before. He had the flu. He had the flu against Rosado. He couldn't breathe on Thursday night, and then he fought on Saturday night. There is some truth to that. He was sick. I don't want to go into the details, but certainly not using that as an excuse because the great performance that he put on. You got to give your hat. You got to take your hats off to Derevyanchenko. I'm not going to say the illness affected Triple G because he told us beforehand that he felt great. But there is some truth to that. I don't know how that really got out there, but I'm not gonna deny it. The training camp went well. He had no physical ailments in training camp like he's had sometimes in the past. He seemed to gel really well with Jonathan Banks in the second training camp. So overall, I've learned it's rare that a fighter is 100% being whether they have a mild strain somewhere or some type of a cold or a sore throat or whatever. So I think the way he performed tonight, you could say he really put on a great show.
My last question, and this is just kind of out of curiosity, tonight might change the plans, but there's a lot of great fights with Triple G that's not Canelo.
Absolutely.
And was there one fight coming into tonight that you guys were looking at more than the others?
Not really. We were definitely focused. Sometimes in the past, we've had, he wins one fight and then he's going to go in one direction. That was certainly the case when Cotto and Canelo fought. We figured he would fight the winner of that fight. But, now there's a large variety of opponents. Murata in Japan is a great fight. There's we don't even know if Canelo's going to come down to 160 anymore. So, if that fight, if he beats Kovalev and wants to stay at 175, I don't see a problem with Gennady going to 175. But, it really depends on what opportunities present themselves. As you mentioned, there's a lot of great names outside of Canelo. Clearly, Triple G Canelo fight is the biggest for both of those guys because the sum of those two fighters and their fan bases is a multiple. You saw what we did on pay-per-view. We saw selling out at T-Mobile twice. So those are always great events. But Triple G sells out Madison Square Garden. He sells out the Forum, T-Mobile, the O2. Now that we're working together with Eddie, that could open up some doors for some of the UK fighters that we've looked at in the past and couldn't make fights with. So I really think there's a lot of opportunities for him, and it doesn't seem that the guys are really, I wouldn't say running away, but hesitant to get in the ring with him now that he's 37. Seems like people are willing to take the chance to get in the ring with him. It makes it easier to try to make these matches.